All right, today on the channel, I'm talking about one of my favorite collections, the Masunaga K3 collaboration. We're talking about the Broom model, which pays tribute to vintage retro pieces from many decades ago, but with the beautiful modern elements of the best in Japanese design. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome to the Hicks Brunson Eyewear YouTube channel. I am your friendly neighborhood optician, Daniel Brunson, and on this channel, I like to explore my favorite independent eyewear designers. We dive into specific designs like we're going to today with the Broom model by Masunaga, but we also talk about other things like how you can do cool custom tinted transitions lenses in all kinds of fun colors. If you're interested in doing anything like that, I invite you to explore some of my other videos and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos on all the eyewear content that we do here. So again, thank you so much for being here. The topic of today's video is this frame that I am wearing right here. This is the Broom by Masunaga. And some of you may know, if you've followed the channel, I'm quite a big fan of Masunaga Eyewear. They're a brand that has been around since 1905, and they produce their own eyewear. They manufacture every component for their frames from A to Z, right in their factory in Fukui, Japan. It's one of those things that is a little bit rare for a brand to control the entire manufacturing process, and because of that, I have the highest respect for what Masunaga does as a brand. And this piece here, the Broom, it comes from a collaboration that Masunaga entered into with Japanese designer Kenzo Takada many years ago. And Kenzo Takada has since passed away, but he designed the first several collections as part of the collaboration. And his home and lifestyle company is called K3, and the collaboration continues. And that's why now the Masunaga pieces that are part of the collaboration are known as Masunaga K3, as you can see right here, Masunaga K3. So the K3 is the brand founded by Kenzo Takada. And many of the design elements, as we'll see here a little bit later when I dive into the design details, are still take inspiration from some of Kenzo Takada's original designs from a few years back. So let's get into this particular frame. As I said, this model is called Broom, and I'm going to hold it up here so you can get a good look at the detail work. And I've got another color I'm going to share with you a little bit later. But this is what we would refer to as a brow line design, and this is a design that was incredibly popular back in the 1960s. And by that I mean it has a thicker brow up top and a thinner wire rim down below. So typically you see a thicker piece of acetate up top laying on top of a wire rim that runs down below. And you'll typically have nose pads. You might have plastic temples, or you might have metal temples. This one happens to have metal temples. And typically that design is a little less round. There's not as many round brow line frames over the years. In fact, there is another Masunaga model that's still quite popular called the Orion that I'll link to in the box. That is the brow line look, but it's much more rectangular. And it's a sharp looking frame, the Orion. But this is a brand new release. This is the Broom. And so we're going to focus on it today. And let's talk a little bit more about the design details here. As I said, it's a round shape. It has adjustable nose pads, which is awesome because as my friend, eyewear designer Tom Davies once said, the nose is an incredibly complicated 3D object. And one of the most challenging things in eyewear design, if you have a frame without nose pads, is getting a good bridge that fits comfortably on a lot of different noses. It's just not always possible to do, but if you have adjustable nose pads, so much leeway in getting a comfortable fit, especially if you're a person who has a more petite nose, higher cheekbones, and frames often rest on the cheeks. The nose pads give the ability to kind of fit the frame up and out away from the cheeks and solve that problem. So it's a nice feature to have the nose pads. You've got what I said, you've got an acetate on the top, a wire rim on the bottom. You've got some really beautiful, as is Masunaga's tradition, they produce a lot of their own press work. So when they actually make this titanium rim wire, they start out with thicker pieces of titanium that get stretched and stretched and stretched to these really thin pieces. And then if you look carefully, you'll see lots of detail shapes that you have to look really close to see along the eye wire. We'll probably be able to see them a little more easily on the other color that I'll show you in a moment. Those are literally pressed into the titanium with a very, very heavy weight that has those design details built into it. And those were created by the designers at Masunaga, all of their own design detail work. So you have that nice detail. You have this temple. I'm going to talk about this temple for just a short bit. This was inspired by a lorgnette handle. A lorgnette is a pair of opera glasses from 100 years ago or so. So the little handle, an opera glass would be like a little pair of binoculars you'd hold like this as you'd look at the opera. The handle on those things, some of them, would look somewhat similar to this. This is how the design of this temple arm came to be. So I love that type of detail work, that kind of thinking when an eyewear designer is creating. What you have is a more angular shape, cylindrical shape here, but it has sort of I haven't counted the number of sides, maybe 5 sides of a cylinder where it's sort of angular, and then it switches over to like just a really thin, clean temple here. And that's important because this is thin. It's polished titanium all the way to the tip. And if you look at the end of the tip, let me see if I can get a good shot of it, more press work, and you can see the K3 logo very discreetly on the tip of the temple. You're not going to see the large logos anywhere on Masunaga. It's going to be discreetly placed back there. So just a little mark of where it comes from and symbolizing the quality and the rich history and the tradition of Masunaga and K3. And when you have gold polished temples like this, I love how they flared the tip out so there's enough material there so that it can be adjusted to get a good grip on the back of the head, but still be very comfortable, and you hardly feel it when you're wearing it. So this design really lends itself to lightweight, comfortable fit, just all the good things that you want in a pair of glasses, especially if you're going to wear your glasses all day long, like most of us do who wear glasses. So there you have that. Those are all of the design details. This is the black color. Oh, I think I might have, before we move on, if you didn't see this, I love the way they anchor the hinge to the acetate front is with a screw that goes through the back, and they used a pretty large metal plate that the screw goes into that also is gold, and it has design press work built into it, and it just makes for a really interesting, pretty design. And it's on the inside of the frame, so it's not like when you're wearing it, people are really going to see that. That's just one of those things for you to know that every detail has been carefully thought of, and that's what you get with higher quality frames like this. Almost reminds me of how Steve Jobs was so particular about the design of the Apple computers. He went even so far as to say things on the inside that the public would never see needed to have a really clean look. And some of the team that was in charge of making those things happen couldn't believe how picky he was being about some of these things. But he just wanted this philosophy to be so deeply bred into the DNA of the brand. So he wanted those details to be so pure throughout the DNA of Apple that he wanted that to just pervade the culture of how they designed everything. And I feel like with Masunaga, that is how they approach everything. They have such a dedication to the craft of getting all the details very carefully done. So let's go ahead and talk about this frame color. This is black gunmetal gold. So the acetate front has polished black and matte black. And it's not one-dimensional at all. If you can see from the front here, this top overhead angle, it's a little thicker here, dips in thinner here, a little thicker at the bridge. And I love the way the matte and polished surfaces play off of each other. Very beautiful work there. Then you have a gunmetal component to the temple here, and then you have the polished gold all the way down to the tip. And that's the black gunmetal gold color. Now let's take a look at this other color, because this is beautiful, guys. This is crystal stripe brushed silver. So I'll just put this on for a minute. This is one of those colors that literally everyone that is made is unique, because this is Japanese acetate, and it's handmade. and you have this distribution of stripes within the crystal that you will not see repeat from one frame to the next, because every block is very uniquely done with how the acetate chip colors fall into the blocks. And so you just get really interesting, almost looks like bits of marble with the transparent crystal gray, just really nice color. And, you know, the whole reason to have a brow line frame that, or the whole reason, one of the benefits I will say is that if you don't have a lot of color to your brow line, your natural brow line, these provide that. So these can kind of help if your face is, you know, lacking in brow color, kind of gives balance to the face. And so, you know, if you need a lot of color, obviously the black is going to do that very well. But if you want something that's a little softer, perhaps, this is a nice touch. And also this one, it does have one little bit of gold, but it's only in that back component, that plate that the screw goes into that holds the metal rim wire to the acetate, or holds the hinge to the front. But the rest of this that's visible is silver, except for this one other, I spoke too soon, one little bit of gold here, one little bit of gold right there. So if you can see that little bit of gold right there, but and right here at the hinge. So, but when you look at it on the whole, you know, 95% silver, and you have a combination, just like in the other frame, you have kind of a matte silver, kind of a brushed silver. Yeah, we're going to call this brushed silver, and then you have shiny silver. And you have the same K3 detail on the tip of the temple. You have that on both sides. Really beautiful work, polished well, comfortable to wear. I can't stress it enough. Like, these frames weigh very little, and because of the adjustable pads and because of the flexibility, you have a comfortable frame to wear that grips on very nice, and you just don't feel it that much. So nice round shape, nice classic look, brow line. We're going to talk about the size. It comes in at a 48 eye size, a 22 bridge, and a 140 millimeter temple length. So 48, 22, 140 on the size. I think it's a pretty good medium size, not super wide, not super small, right there in the middle. So gonna fit medium sized faces really well. And if you've been looking for a brow line look, but not the more squared off or the more rectangular shape that's more common to see, but something that's much more round, I encourage you to check out the Broom from the Masunaga K3 collaboration. I'll put links in the box so you can shop the Broom down at hicksbrunson.com. And if you have any questions about this model or any suggestions about other topics that you would like to see covered here on the Hicks Brunson Eyewear YouTube channel, I invite your comments down below, and I will see you in the next video.